Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're looking closely at some really concerning reports. They allege the detention and, well, torture of a Ugandan activist, Atuhaire, by Tanzanian authorities.
That's right. Our main source here is a news report transcript from Citizen TV Kenya. It includes Atuhaire's own account, plus reactions from others.
And our goal really is to understand these core allegations, what she actually went through, and maybe some of the broader context around it all.
So let's start with her account. According to this transcript, she says she was detained by Tanzanian authorities.
Yeah, and forced to undress almost immediately. Then, physically assaulted, hit on the back, is what the report said.
Right, before being violently stripped. It mentioned she was thrown down, handcuffed, although there's a strange detail about a sweater being placed under the cuffs first.
The sweater, huh? But the most serious allegation is sexual assault.
Absolutely. I mean, the whole account points towards severe mistreatment, deliberate humiliation, physical violence, and then the sexual assault allegation on top of that.
That detail about the sweater. It's odd, isn't it? Almost like a flicker or something? I don't know.
It's hard to interpret. Maybe some awareness that this was completely outside the lines, extrajudicial, as we'd say, but it doesn't negate the violence described.
No, definitely not. And chillingly, her experience seems to mirror that of another activist, Boniface Mwangi from Kenya.
Yes, the report mentions him too. Allegedly detained around the same time, similar circumstances perhaps. He was apparently getting treatment in Nairobi when this report came out.
So two activists, different countries, similar alleged treatment by Tanzanian authorities. That does suggest a pattern, doesn't it?
It certainly raises serious questions. How are activist dissenting voices being handled in the region, particularly if they cross borders?
And Atuhaire's release. It wasn't exactly formal. The report says she was basically just, well, dumped at the Tanzania-Uganda border. Mutukula, Thursday night.
Which again reinforces that idea of this being outside any legal framework. No paperwork, no official process, just removal.
It really suggests they wanted her gone, without a trace of official involvement in what happened during that detention.
Precisely. An attempt to avoid accountability.
Okay, and there's another really disturbing element in her account. She talks about being in a car, screaming during the abuse.
Yes.
And her captors apparently turned the car radio way up. At first, she didn't understand why. But then she says she started to hear Boniface Mwangi screaming too. The implication is, well, that they were both being abused concurrently, maybe nearby.
And the loud music was to stop them hearing each other clearly. Or perhaps stop others outside from hearing anything.
Yeah, that seems to be the suggestion. It's quite calculated if true.
It points to a really disturbing level of deliberate cruelty, almost psychological torture alongside the physical, aimed at isolation and fear.
Understandably, this has caused outrage. Activists are pointing fingers directly at Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu's government.
They're framing it not as isolated incidents, but as significant human rights violations targeting East African community citizens.
Right. It's broader than just these two individuals, in their view. It's about the safety of EAC citizens within Tanzania, especially those involved in activism.
Exactly. It raises fundamental questions about protections within the community framework.
And the demands from fellow activists are clear. They want accountability. Not just for the individuals who allegedly carried out the torture, but for those who ordered it.
That's a crucial point, accountability up the chain of command. And they're highlighting the trauma, too. Not just the physical injuries, but the deep emotional and psychological scars Atuhaire and likely Mwangi will carry.
Yeah, the long-term impact is often overlooked, isn't it?
Terribly so. It requires specific support and can last a lifetime.
Political figures are also weighing in. Kalonzo Musyoka, the Wiper leader in Kenya, has condemned it.
And Martha Karua, leader of the People's Liberation Party, has apparently taken concrete steps.
Oh, what kind of steps?
The report says she's written to the African Union and other continental bodies, urging action against President Suluhu's administration over these specific allegations.
Wow, okay. So escalating it to a continental level, that shows how seriously some political figures are taking this.
Definitely. It's an attempt to bring external pressure and scrutiny.
Finally, there's this sentiment mentioned in the transcript, reportedly coming from some activists. This idea that the ruling class in East Africa are solidly together to oppose any uprising.
That's quite a statement. It suggests a perception, at least among some, of a unified front from those in power across the region against dissent.
Like a kind of cross-border solidarity amongst leaders to suppress opposition.
That seems to be the implication they're drawing. If that perception is widespread, it paints a pretty bleak picture for democratic space and activism within the EAC.
So for you listening, it's worth thinking about the implications here. Allegations of state-sponsored abuse crossing borders within a regional community like the EAC, it's deeply concerning.
It really forces us to ask questions about accountability. How can justice be pursued when state actors in one country are accused of harming citizens of another within that same community? What mechanisms exist or should exist to protect people?
Yeah, what does this say about the effectiveness of regional bodies in safeguarding fundamental human